Hello there and welcome back to War Thunder. Today I want to show you two battles in the AD-4 Skyraider, and this will be amazing what to see, but it gives me also the opportunity to talk about certain things that I think should be changed a little bit within War Thunder, especially in the second battle. So here we are on a Pacific map fighting the Japanese. Gladly for us, it's that kind of map where you have a lot of targets. Now I want to begin with explaining certain game mechanics. One of them is actually the stealth mechanic or the spotting mechanic within RRB. Now, many people are not aware of how it exactly works, and the very deepest details are not completely obvious to me, but it depends on the altitude that you are at and also the altitude at which the enemy is, if he looks directly into your direction or whatnot. I'm talking here about obviously the red boxing. And so when you are very low and the enemy is very high, he must see your dot in order to point you out. That also leads to the spotting issues through clouds, or when somebody is in a cloud, or somebody is above the cloud layer, somebody is below the cloud layer, he still can see the dot. And due to the contrast between a white background, it's very easy to spot them. But here we have a clear sky, and that gives me the opportunity to approach the enemy like pillboxes, of which there are many in a straight line. This will be an incredible run. I just go very low, just under the climbing zone of the enemy, so I'm right below them. The problem is my team. Now this is not a usual rant about how bad American teams are, that there are too many attackers and that there are too many bombers and the fighters don't know how to play in teamwork despite having such good planes, in certain cases, P-47s. But here is the deal. There are some attackers that have the same combat zone inside. They want to go for the same targets. Usually that's good, but not in my case, because I have so many rockets. I have 56 rockets. That's giving me, I guess, 28 launches, which is a lot, especially if you're good and you can aim with one wing. If I shoot the rockets, please have a close look to how I aim them, where the rockets go and at which distance I shoot. And this is a good training for the upcoming F4U7 if you want to use the SNEB rockets. The performance is, similar. It's not very much the same, but it's similar. So you can use the Skyraider if you have fully upgraded it as a training tool, because tank RB and so forth. So you have a lot of impact. And I don't think that I use too many cannon rounds here. Now the problem with my team here is that they are too high. The Hyper Panda is too high. He gets spotted. He's also directly still in the climbing path of the planes that come from the runway, so you need to know which targets or where the enemies appear roughly at which altitude. So first shot, first strike, and on we go. So this is the most incredible run that there ever has been. And that brings a problem. If the enemy gets aware of you, then, well, somebody is coming after you, you are relatively slow on low altitude, you have no energy reserves, and you have a lot of air drag, you're a heavy plane, you're not that good. Yes, you can use the Skyraider as a fighter, which I have proven in multiple videos, but for the average player, he doesn't really feel comfortable in. You need to fight the Germans, because dogfighting the Russians, dogfighting the British, and dogfighting, well, the Japanese is rather suicidal. So against the Germans, you can use this as a fighter. It also is very important to see how the map is built up. I mean, there is just one target zone, and I was quite sure that that was a hit, but I guess the bush was overpowered. So we continue here with the run. That was a bit badly aimed, but you can still see the progress of the points bar there. I have a huge impact, so I still can win the match by myself. I really can do it. but I am now spotted by the enemy. And what I'm doing here is controversial. Now it leads ultimately to my death, but you know, to get a very good run in such an aircraft is not that easy, despite having here insanely good shots. So the first AD-4 was taken down. The second one I leave to die. Yes, because I don't think that I can really help him. And even before I could shoot down all the 3 Japanese aircraft, if they, you know, fly in a straight line, then he would go down. So I want to use him as the chance to get out of there. Now look at this. I have destroyed over half of the enemy's score points. But the problem is there's a J7W coming after me. So I try my best. I want to get him a bit closer, a bit over the airfield. There is no fighter coming for me to help me. So I need to turn right now. And the problem with the J7W1 is that it has good controllability and he gets actually some shots into me. Now the Skyraider can take some punishment, but it completely ruins the maneuverability. So here I try to get guns on target, but the plane is today a little bit too slow, a little bit too sluggish, and the Japanese plane is just a little bit too maneuverable and he has a lot of energy under his belt. Now I'm in a very slow status, and I know that I'm about to die. So I want to get at least 2 pillboxes in, but before I can get the rockets on the second one, the J7W cuts off my tail. Yeah. The funny thing is, we actually won this battle on Iwo Jima, and I received 43,000 silver lines for the huge amount of targets that I destroyed. And after resupplying my ammunition and the repair costs, which together are roughly 11,000, I just received 33,000 silver lines. That's not a lot for the impact that I had. So I think the reward silver line wise should go up a little bit. And in this respect, Gaijin is not really paying tribute to the ground attackers and their difficult job. Many people are seeing this and just saying, yeah, you should give up on this, but I'm not so quite sure. And another thing is, where do the other points come from? So let's say you destroy all the pillboxes. Your team have given you the opportunity to really rack up all the light pillboxes, and it's still not enough because there are still some ships floating around. What can you do? How should you approach it? Well, we'll see how this works out in this battle. And this battle is a nail biter. It comes down to 28 points. So this will be one of the most outstanding battles that I've ever had. Now, when you have all those light pillboxes around as targets, how do you approach them? Well, basically you do it a bit like the German phrase mal nach Zahlen. You see them as just punctual targets, which they are, and now you draw your lines on the minimap how to approach them best, how to keep up your speed, and how to get the best possible approaches with the best aiming solution where the plane is just very stable. So first long range shot, first strike. Few extra credits, just, you know, making your point as a ground attacker, I guess. My enemy team, well, very often it feels like this, but they cannot really support. I had an air start and I went in. I do not count on support for several minutes. We are fighting here the British, and they have some very good turn fighters. And, you know, we have a lot of bombers, we have a lot of attackers. So in the pure fighter versus fighter engagements, which usually decides the majority of RRB battles, the matter of the fact is that the American team is mostly, well, in a fighter deficit. They don't have that many fighters. They are outnumbered, and that by itself in the long run usually is very decisive as well, or it helps a great deal. And there I was quite sure that I pressed the button and I had a lag spike for no apparent reason, and now I get the kill. Don't ask me why. It was not on my end this time. As you can see now, the packet loss and the ping is rather low. And now I'm spotted by the Lancaster. So on this map I do not really think about, you know, playing in stealth. I just want to see how it goes. And very often I, well, slapped a few Spitfires, which were overconfident in engaging me, out of the sky. So far I still have all the cannon rounds, 800, 200 per gun, which is a lot, with the universal belt, again a quick reminder. And I'm just circling around, cleaning one area after the other to make it more likely that our ground forces might just capture them a little bit easier, which is an auto-win mechanic on this map for the Americans. And our bombers, spoiler alert, they will bomb out all the enemy bombing points, but have not enough bombs for dealing with the airfield, even though we have a B-29. And one bomb could have decided the battle much earlier. So again, you can see I have them destroyed over 1/3 of the enemy's points, and I'm continuing doing so. So here I don't really feel again that I can have a chance against the Spitfire. Now, if you really try, you know, sometimes it can happen. The Skyraider is not bad, and I was very enthusiastic first I got my hands on, but now I am purely in the ground striker mode. I have some heavy gun pods, or rocket pylons rather, under my wings. I am already at low altitude, and I don't have enough energy to really have a fair chance against the Spitfire. But if there is a ground striker that could do this, it would be that one. Maybe even the Wyvern. But you get the point. And I'm cleaning up all those pillboxes. I get so many credits. I have such a huge impact on the outcome of the points. Look at this. I destroyed 2/3 of the points by now. Just accomplished by some few points from our bombers destroying the bases. And I think this is a bit punishing if you cannot destroy all of the targets. I think even without wiping out the entirety of the enemy team, you should have another way of deciding the outcome of the battle. If one or two of your players have put so much effort into bringing down the points, and if that is then, you know, if there is no other way to really accomplish this, then that's just simply awful. And you can see I'm really good today with my rocket aim, and every launch is a rocket kill. So this, those are 28 launches. The F4U 7 will have 114, making it 57 launches. So doubling that. So there is now a Spitfire, and I try to help my F7F. Trying to be a bit distracting, but I think I'm not good enough in this case. Spitfire coming in, and yeah, I thought this would be it. So there is the last pillbox, or was it the last? It was the last. And at this point, at around about 12 and a half minutes, 13 minutes into the gameplay, we are down to 28 points for the enemy team. 28 points. Where should I get them from? From destroying a fighter that is so stupid to challenge me in a head-on, like this Griffin Spitfire? Sadly not. And this is what really triggered me at this point. And I thought, okay, I need to go back to base. I need to do nothing. I never saw the Seafire coming. Because of all the red symbols on the radar, I really didn't see him coming. And I could have had the chance here of going back to the airfield and, you know, slapping a torpedo under my Skyraider and going after a ship. And then the battle would have been decided. So get one ship. Get one ship. Screw the base, screw the airfield, go for a single ship, and we have the battle won. I write it in chat. It's visible for everybody who has some sort of knowledge about RRB, how it really works. And I'm not quite sure if this P51H actually has the modules unlocked for a bomb, because he could do it as well, I guess. So if necessary, to go into a suicide run. And I got 19 pillboxes and one aircraft, 12,600 score points, being, 10,000 score points roughly above the second in my team, which was in a P-47 M1, which did a phenomenal job in, the odds he had to fight against. I noticed just afterwards, and this P-51 is doing the exact wrong thing. He's going for the ground units that do not count, and he's now on low altitude, on low speed. Funnily enough, he will be the one that actually decides the outcome of the match. So now I am waiting. I'm waiting. Spoiler alert, it will take 10 more minutes for 28 points to tick down. And now A is about to be captured. This is a bit of an auto-win mechanic on this map. And if you are on the wrong side, it feels annoying. But sometimes it really shortens the battles down from this incredible 1-hour monster games that you can have, especially on Norway, where an allied bomber is just running to 12,000 meters altitude, because the Germans have, aside from some premium planes, no real plane that actually has high altitude performance. Hello, Tau 152 H1. How about you? You have a shit flight model? Oh boy, well, never mind. So, I'm just waiting here, and you could screw it up as well if you really spam your team with good advices and whatnot. But for me, it feels like really, really punishing to have here the possibility of losing after this good run that I had, after having even killed a Spitfire in a head-on, and after just making that one mistake of not looking around in the wrong moment. There might be even the possibility that I could have killed that Seafire, but I didn't see him coming, and that was that one mistake that cost me over 10 minutes. And I'm actually, for a change, staying here in the battle because I really want to see how it's going. And now I write to the pilots. Now I'm coming to the conclusion, hey P-51, what about bombs? Do you have bombs? And it's just one damn cruiser. The bombers, well, you have to excuse them. They're in their own little world, flying at high altitude, trying to press the spacebar at the right moment, without forgetting to open the bomb bay, and not getting intercepted by interceptors such as the Hornet, which is very much capable of doing it very effectively. But back to the actual topic. One bomb could have decided the outcome of the battle right there. They never had the chance of destroying the airfield fully, which they actually should know. Now, there is now this B-17 and he's about to land, and he is now my best chance to convince him if he should, get a new fresh bomb load, start from the runway, and bomb just one damn cruiser. If you think about it, this is his actual best option, because the flak at the airfield just stops to be very... Okay, forget about my plans. Back to the chance that he just wasted. Don't just rant about this player, but, just to give you the idea. He could have landed, fresh bomb load, and then fly straight to the light cruisers at low altitude. And before reaching the airfield to drop another load that wouldn't have destroyed the airfield, he needed to invest a lot of time climbing. And in a heavy bomber, that takes a lot of time. If you're not a Heinkel 177, you just don't have the power to weight ratio. And you could get even shot down by AAA before you could drop your bombs, because how the AAA works around the airfields. So this B-29 is doing the right thing, and what's about to happen in the next few minutes, I think there is maybe the B-29 involved in damaging this player's engine. So I don't get any more silver lines for this. I don't get any more research points for it. I just have to make sure that my team is not screwing it up, and we lose the battle, because that would be hilarious. It would be one of those typical Jingles World of Tanks replays. It's now 1 versus 8, Calabanas metal, rah. Which seem to happen quite often according to the replays that get uploaded. But I digress. Here in War Thunder, how to end the battle? You don't have any possibility to force the enemy to come to you in some sort of quick decisiveness for aircraft. Even in tank RP, you just waste so much time very often for there just being one enemy alive. Big shout out to this Tempest, because he actually tried. He didn't circle around the airfield and just waited for the auto win for the Americans to kick in. If you noticed it, A is captured and we didn't get a single point. So even, to make the enemy lose 100 points for each of those mini bases to be captured would have been decisive. And 28 points, where do they come from? Well, if you divide them roughly by 3, something like this, you actually get the points that are a bombing point missing from 200 points. So I'm not quite sure. What is a bombing point actually counting for? 196 points? Something like this. And so with 3 bombing points you don't get 600 but 500 and something points. And that is just punishing. It's just a handful of points. It's nothing. The enemy team is having, I don't know how many points to catch up to win. It's not fair. It's punishing. It's annoying. Now, I know this is very old, but again, Gaijin has nothing done about this in years. Again, even the last change, which are the bombing points, are a change that, well, I guess was due to the Yair and the Do 207 bomber spam in especially arcade, which I was back then joining, which was very fun for the bombers. But at that point the community cried loud out, hey, bomber spam, blah blah blah. But where were the Yak 9Ts back then? Where were all the interceptors that were already in the game? So now we are in the funny part of this P-51 that previously ground strike, being on the heels of the Tempest, and the P-51 has some engine problems. He is trailing some smoke, so I'm a bit worried. He's too fast, the Tempest is too fast, but what we don't know at this time is that he seems to have some engine problems. At the moment he's pulling away from the P-51, and now even C is captured and we didn't get a single point for it. We have to wait for B, so I guess it's waiting for B to get captured. Sadly, we have no Russians to rush B. Let that sink in for a moment. Okay, bad joke time is now over, and I now think head-on is the P-51's best chance, because his engine is damaged and the Tempest has such a long run time that he will catch up a lot of energy. So he hits the P-51, and the P-51 seemed not to have hit the Tempest, but with a damaged engine, low on speeds, and what can you expect? But at this time I really thought to myself, why didn't the Tempest just pull up and energy fight the P-51? In this situation he would have won, and now he's running away. Is it just a bad player? And then it dawned on me, maybe he received a single 50 cal bullet into his engine when he was engaging the B-29. And it's a roundabout now that the P-51 actually catches up. Now, maybe the Tempest thought it would have been his best chance to lure him into the AAA of the cruisers, but they are not very good. Now he has a very good deflection shot, and the Tempest is so slow. It's kind of obvious how fast that he lost his energy, that either he is completely stuck and screwed up his, his throttle, or he has really some problems with his engine. But now the P-51 is coming down on a weird angle, seems to have hit the Tempest, and the Tempest goes down, taking a bath to ultimately cool down the engine. Well, I guess that's one way to do it. And that is how we won the battle. But just waiting 10 minutes for 28 points and none of our fighters having another chance to decide the outcome of the battle, that's just annoying. That's really, really annoying. And even if we have a look at the results, it's more than bad. For the 19 ground units and one plane, I just got 67,000 silver lines. So I just made roughly 58,000 silver lines. That's not a lot for the effort. So that's it for me today. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you got the message. Subscribe if you want to see more. Give it a like if you did. And we'll see each other on the battlefields and in the skies of War Thunder.